All right, what is up, YouTubes? We are here to do a Zendikar Rising draft. It's like the 19th draft, so I'm going to speed everything up. The draft, the gameplay, and this one's kind of a stipulation draft. I have not done the white-green archetype, and I just tell myself, look, I am going into this draft, and I'm forcing it. I'm just playing white-green. No one's going to stop me. No one's going to tell me how to live my life. So pack one, pick one, nothing too exciting. I take Kaldheim Raptor because it's just a really solid creature. And then pack two, again, more good options, but I'm just really excited to take Kaldheim Raptor number 2 because, again, really solid card. And yeah, like, why not take it? Now, pack one, pick 3, more difficult decision in my mind. Like, Drog Visionary, great card. Cleric, great card. But I think Vastwood Surge, now's a good time to grab one of these because if I'm all in on the landfall deck, that card can be a game winner. It can be everything you need and more. With us being landfall, 4 mana, get us 2 in play, pretty big deal. Plus it helps us ramp out if we need it for whatever reason. Pick 4, I see Royal Eruption, it just makes my heart hurt. But doesn't matter. Vastwood Fortification is not too shabby of a card, honestly. I like the instant speed trick of it, and there wasn't a lot of other options, and then I just get excited about Prowling Felidar, because it's one of my favorite white landfall cards. I'm just hoping we can get some of its bird brethren, or the Canyon Jerboa, or our gold card would just be tremendous. I'm a little nervous just jumping in and trying to force an archetype, but here we are. You know what I mean? By the way, y'all have a great Christmas. Everyone have a happy holiday. Depending on when you're watching this, I hope you have a great New Year. Any New Year's resolutions on the way? Anyone get some sweet pulls from what Santa left you in your stocking or under the tree? Yeah, just curious. What did I open up? I opened up a Commander Legends pack, got a Vampiric Tutor, pretty stoked about that. That was like the top pull of my Christmas holiday. So there you have it. Now pick 6. McKindy Ox, even though it's landfall, I just figure the Dauntless Bodyguard, not Dauntless Bodyguard, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying. The 2-drop is the best option there because we just need plenty of 2-drops. The rest of the, like, I'm just not seeing the cards I was hoping to see. Like Turn Timber, Aesthetic, or Ace, whatever it is. McKindy Ox, I take it because I'm like, hey, landfall, lords, please hear my cry. Send me all the good cards. My hope is I don't have to play McKindy Ox, though, because it's just one of the worst landfall cards. Now, pack 1, pick 9, getting Teru Blightblade wheeling to me makes me feel a little better about everything that's going on. But, you know, here we are. Pick 10, Adventure Awaits, because it's the only green card left in the pack. If it was best of 3, I'd 100% take Disenchant, but I'm not overly excited about it. And then I'll take the Uncommon, because I only have a 1000% chest vault progress. I don't know how I'm ever going to use all of these wild cards. I would love if I could just draft with, like, cash in a chest to get to draft. Wizards, hear my prayer. Now, pack 2, pick 1. I see like 3 cards I would love to have, but Inscription Abundance, its top end is just so good. So, I mean, there's no way I could pass this card, but I really hope Scale the Heights, or more importantly, Territorial Scythecat wheels, but I don't feel like there's just not enough green in that pack for it to make its way to us. Then I see Canyon Jerboa. What's not to love? Well, I don't love the fact that I have another Nahiri's Binding, another great 2-drop, just like great options. It feels like all the cards we want are in the same pack, which is, you know, hey, I'm forcing an archetype. This kind of thing happens. But thankfully, Gnarled Colony shows up in this pack too, and there's not really anything else that excites me in it. The only green card, maybe that's a good sign that that more good green stuff could come to us in pack 3, because we're not passing a ton of green. Maybe if someone's on the fence, they're going to get off that game plan. Could be wishful thinking. I don't know, another pack where there's only 1 green card just makes me think, again, our archetype is not super open, but we're still getting pretty solid playables. Dauntless Survivor is really good now that we also have a Gnarled Colony. It can give our bigger stuff, like the Prowling Felidar. As it gets bigger, counter on it. Now it's got Trample. Helps add to that inevitability. I like Teru Snarecaster because I just like reach. I feel like I've gotten blown out by dinky flyers poking in at me too many times in this format, so getting something with reach, feel better about. And I'm not really going to use the Party Matters stuff, so I don't need our artifact friend like I normally do. And then I see Fearless Fledgling and Life's Good. I'm ecstatic. Maybe Landfall isn't completely chewed up. Maybe there's hope for us in pack 3 to really fill some of the holes in this deck, which is like, we still need some more interaction. Don't have a ton of that. And we just need more efficient, more Landfall Matters type creatures. Not McKindy Ox, because again, that card is not all that great in the Landfall Matters deck. This pack, I see 3 white cards and a green card. Smite the Monstrous right now is like my French playable, depending on what else we end up with. And then I think I'll take the Cliff Save and Kite Sail. Maybe I play it just to give something flying and evasion, especially like a Prowling Felidar. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to do. But yeah, overall, I'm not like super stoked on how this draft has gone. I just think for me forcing this draft, I feel like I've seen the archetype open a lot in drafting, and often it's not, I'll say always wide open, but there's plenty of times where I see the white, green, gold card go super late in pack 2, even pack 3. So I was hoping that this draft would be one that happens in, but unfortunately, so far, no luck. Now, pack 3, pick 1, I see the Leyline Tyrant. In a paper draft, I'm just windmill slamming the Mythic Rare because I can't help myself. But in this one, we see, again, 3, 4 cards that I'd love. Nahiri's Binding number 12 that I'm passing because I look at my creature count, I just need more creatures. So I'm going to take Prowling Felidar number 2. I really like the card, though, especially with us having solid 2 and 3 drop, or 1 and 2 drops, handful of 3 drops. I feel like we should be able to curve out okay. And then once we get a Prowling Felidar down, or 2, that inevitability can be really, really difficult to keep up with. Now I see a Scale of Heights, I see a rare modal land, but another Prowling Felidar. Again, I just need the creatures, and with it being a Landfall Matters card like that, I don't mind having 3. I'll play 4. I'd probably even play 5 at this rate, because I'm definitely going to cut the McKindy Ox if I can get enough playables. Or Celebrant, I'm actually happy to see, because it's going to help us gain life, stall out the board to add to our inevitability game plan. It just does a lot of nice things with, I'll say, where the deck is and where we're at in the draft. So there's definitely worse options, definitely better options, but I'll take it, all things considered. Now, here was a really difficult pick. I take Prowling Felidar, again, because Landfall, but I would have been happy to take Basswood Surge number 2. I would have been happy with the Flyer. I just felt like Prowling Felidar number 4, this means every game, turn 4, we should be able to play a Prowling Felidar. Maybe turn 5, but like getting to see 10 cards of our deck and having 25, or, you know, in that top 10%, oh my gosh, I cannot think right now. In 10 cards, 1 of those 10 should be a Prowling Felidar. That's what I'm getting at. Hopefully, if we can play Prowling Felidar on curve, get a couple land down, maybe we have Cannon Jerboa out, we should just have all kinds of damage coming in hot. Rabid Bite is perfect with Teru Blightblade. Huge fan of it. Now, will they both show up at the right time? Who knows, but if they don't, at least we have the option. Scale the Heights, I get to snag, which I'm kind of happy about, because I want to play a Scale the Heights and a Roiling Regrowth and just see which one feels better. And then to see Roiling Regrowth wheel, okay, I'm like pretty excited. I don't know if I'm going to play all 3 though, because that just feels like a lot, and we still need, again, like interaction. We need stuff like Might of Marasa, Inscription of Abundance. Like, I got to start doing some cutting in my mind. Nothing else exciting really shows up. But overall, I'd say I'm fairly happy with how the draft went. Definitely not the best draft that could have ended up in white-green. But for forcing an archetype, for trying to make something work, I feel like overall got something pretty decent. Now, the final deck, just jump ahead here. Now we'll jump ahead and get the webcam sorted. But the deck ends up being 17 lands plus Fastwood, because I want to make sure we're always hitting our land drops. And then I cut Smite the Monstrous because I'm just not as worried about a bigger creature somehow getting through on me. I'm more worried about hitting my land drops, having interaction when I need it, and just getting to work. So game 1, we are on the draw, which not overly excited about, but I'll keep a 2-lander because we have some early playables, and in this deck, again, 18 lands, I should not be missing land drops, at least early on like this. Thankfully, we hit our 3rd land, I can breathe a sigh of relief. I'm just wondering, like, with it being blue-green, do they want to race? So I attack with Daru. I'm really surprised they don't block, which makes me think they have something like Rabid Bite or a combat trick, and then they Rabid Bite my Gnarlid Colony. I'm like really surprised they Rabid Bit my Gnarlid Colony. You know what I mean? Like, that makes me think that they're not really as worried about racing. They're more worried about buying time and then somehow winning with something kicker related. So they get the Risen Riptide down. I'm thinking Inscription of Abundance. Play that kicked. Use that to eat the 0/5. Life's good. And then with this attack, get in for a cheeky 2 damage. I don't want to use Vastwood Surge yet. I think just playing Tazim Raptor is nice because it also adds more value with the Canyon Jerboa stuff sooner than later. And if they are trying to stall us out, then we need to win the game sooner than later, which means putting creatures down and attacking ASAP, plus it being a flyer can be really annoying for them to deal with. Them playing and tapping out here makes me feel fine. Yeah, we take a ton of damage. Don't care. Inscription of Abundance kicked means we're going to pump up our board, eat up some of their board, and gain some life. Ton of value in this card. Ton of value. And then, yeah, just attack with Tazim Raptor, because Why not? Quick pause, add this to the intro. And with this being like my 19th Zendikar draft, I'm just going to speed up everything and then do a voiceover for it, just because, you know, I feel like we all get the set at this point. But I'm going to force white-green, and hopefully it works out. Okay, back to the game. Get to attack with Tazim Raptor, because, you know, why not? And we'll attack with the Blightblade, because if they want to trade, I don't mind. But if they don't, then they're taking more damage, and hopefully we can win next turn, depending on how they attack and block. And at the very least, we're gonna be hard to catch at this point. That's my mindset. When I see them play this, I think, okay, we've got this game. There's no way we should lose this. If we attack all out, best case scenario is we win. If they block, worst case scenario is we gain some life, we do a lot of damage, and we clear their board. That's the option that ends up happening. Get a couple lands in, get all the triggers, and yeah, I don't know how we lose this at this point, and they don't understand how they win it, and that's why they scoop. So don't mind that at all. On to game 2. Another 2-lander on the draw. Again, don't mind it, because we shouldn't miss land drops early on. Thankfully, we hit some land. We got some decent playables, and now I'm like, but wait, where's my Prowling Felidars? Where are my Landfall Matters cards? That makes me a little sad. Now, Scale the Heights here ends up being a lot better, because it helps us get to 4 land quicker, helps us find a Prowling Felidar and start getting it for damage. Don't mind that at all. But I am kind of nervous that they're playing 3 colors. They have all 3 other colors. It's the kicker deck. Again, super dumb. And of course, they get their ideal curve outs into the Myriad construct. I'm kind of annoyed at this point, but also realizing, hey, depending on how these next couple of turns go, I could just as easily start overpowering them, and then they got no options to catch up to us. Of course, with them also having 3 colors, they're playing that for a reason. In this set, you don't go 3 colors unless you have plenty of value to get. Now here, I start getting a little hesitant. Like, do I want to start trading cards away, or do I want to start just building up my inevitability? And I think, all in all, if I attack with Prowling Felidar there, I just traded away for 1 creature, not worth it. I probably should have attacked with my Dauntless Survivor, because trading it away for any of those creatures would have been worth it. But you know, I start getting a little greedy here. I play Seagate Colossus because I think having this huge creature is nice, and now I can just use that to eat whatever I want. My opponent gets to draw 3 cards though, and I just know, playing all 3 of these colors, who knows what they're going to have, but I'm guessing they have blue in here because they have like either the massive crab creature, or they've got stuff like Into the Royal, or they've got flyers that are going to be hard for me to get through. So now I'm just chewing on, what do I Rabid Bite? Now this is a great draw. Inscription of Abundance, super nice, gets me a ton of value, and they're tapped out, so I don't really have to worry about any interaction, although Lull Mage's Familiar could potentially have some shenanigans afoot, but I'm not worried about it. I'm not playing around that. I think right now my plan is to start attacking and win this race, because if they're drawing a ton of cards, especially being the kicker deck, 3-color kicker deck, they may actually have a better inevitability factor than what I have going. And I'm not hitting landfall triggers right now, so can't really play Felidar and start making it bigger. Them bouncing it to my hand definitely makes me sad. There's a ton of value from their Geyser Mage, and now I think, let's just get rid of their thing that gains them a ton of life, or could potentially gain them a lot of life, and just start attacking in. You know, I probably should not have attacked with Seagate Colossus here. That was just, I'm sitting there thinking, like, why am I getting impatient right now? You know, but that's me not taking my time and not slowing down, which is a criticism I've had of myself this entire set. I just have not played as smoothly as I probably should have. And then I see them play the gold card I wish I had. I wish I'd drafted it. I was so excited if I would have gotten that, but they have it. And now I'm thinking, okay, the only reason they're playing that is that they have stuff like Prowling Felidar or Scythecat or whatever, which makes me just really nervous at this point. So I'm thinking, hopefully I can get my Prowling Felidar down, and I can start being the one that builds up my board before they do, because they may have them in their deck, but currently they're not being played, which means maybe they don't have them, and if they're in top deck mode, that just gives me time to hopefully catch up and win this game. Now, seeing Iridescent Hornbeetle, that's a tremendous card that works super well when you have something like Prowling Felidar down, because now every turn with Marasa Rootgrazer, you're getting 1 or 2 insects, which is pretty dumb. Tazim Raptor, pretty nice draw here, helps us get a landfall trigger, start doing some stuff, and now I'm thinking, with Rabid Bite, if we can start getting in for some damages, let's do that, you know? My opponent says oops there. I'm thinking, like, they don't know how to do math, and I could have, like, played both Prowling Felidars and got the landfall trigger, but that's not how 7 mana works with 2 4-cost spells. But anyway, all's well. I attack with the Prowling Felidar because I'm saying, look, if you want to trade this away for something, I'm okay with it. Like, that's totally fine. Because getting rid of anything with 4 toughness on their board's awesome. And then here, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, the reason they blocked is probably because they have protection. I needed to put the Myriad Construct in the front, because if they target that with a spell, then it gets sacrificed, and at least the 4/4 is gone, and then it's just a bunch of annoying bodies. I trade away my Prowling Felidar for their Spell Shield. Doesn't feel great, but I'm also wondering, maybe they're running out of resources. You know, they got Vine Gecko, they got the 1/1, but overall, if I can just get through in the air, I'm feeling pretty good about my chances of being able to close out this game. Plus, I've got 34 life and they're at 14. You know, now comes a big decision point for me. Do I play Vastwood Surge now, or do I wait until I can kick it and get the counters on everything? I decided to play it now because I really want to put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and start winning the game, because they've got 1 card in hand and nothing on their board really scares me. They have no synergy with the Marasa Rootgrazer. All they've got is a lot of stuff on the ground, and I've got plenty of life that I'm not going to lose this race if I can just start getting in for some damage. And then I just go for it. I think, let's Rabid Bite. Let's get rid of their creature that's going to make them a lot of creatures on the ground. Let's just get rid of this annoying thing and then move on with our lives. And I'm waiting, like, okay, they have instant speed interaction, or is it just the Marasa Rootgrazer activation that they're waiting on? They don't interact, so I think, okay, we're clear to attack. I don't want to attack with the Jerboa because I just really like the synergy it's given me right here. And now I'm just waiting to see what shenanigans are afoot. And I'm thinking here, though, if they block and get rid of their flyer, I'm a happy camper. Unfortunately, they into the Roilet, kicker, draw a card. Now they get to play it down. It's going to be even bigger and more annoying and difficult to deal with. Like, yeah, thankfully we got rid of their card. They didn't blow out our Rabid Bite, but overall, not a huge fan of what just happened, because then they Rabid Bite our thing. Seems like they've drawn the cards they need, and now that the board's gummed up, now we're in top deck mode. And if they find something with Marasa Rootgrazer, I don't know how we're going to catch up. Of course, they top deck Scythecat, and now we are in a rough spot. I don't think I've played this game as cleanly as I could have. I feel like I gave myself a good chance to win, but right now I'm just needing my opponent to make a mistake, because they have the inevitability, I do not. Now with this, I'm thinking, okay, awesome, we're set. I can play this and then we're good to go. But then I also realize, oh, all I'm doing is trading 1 for 1 here, and they're blocking, and nothing gets through that I was hoping would get through. It's just it's all bad. It's all sad. Yeah, not super excited. So I'm actually going to just fast forward, because this turns into literally a top deck match. And I've been blown out now by multiple... Okay, hold on. I'm just going to cut the video with where I'm starting this. Okay, so now fast forwarding a bit. I'm a little bit behind. We've started kind of attacking back and forth. They've started chipping away at my life with their big flyer, which has let my Tazim Raptor get in for a little bit, but that just makes me think they have to have something. There's no way they're attacking and leaving themselves open, knowing I could draw a pump spell or something like that. So I'm not feeling good here. Their Marasa Rootgrazer has gotten their Scythecat up obscenely large, and now I'm just thinking I have 1 non-creature spell left in the deck, and that is this card, Might of Marasa. And I'm thinking, okay, full send. If one thing gets through and they can't bounce it, I'm good. They've already used 1 into the Royal. Do they really have 2? How many are they playing? I wait for them to line up blocks, and I'm like, the game just comes down to, can I get my combat trick off, or do they have a response to it? Because with this back and forth, I'm also going to deck myself earlier. I was checking that the whole time, and they kept track of it as well. They always stayed 1 card behind me. Like, good on them for doing that. They have another into the Royal. They just had the perfect responses to what I was doing, and with that, my board gets all but wiped. Hit them with the good game. That was a rough loss to swallow, for sure. Definitely bummed by it. I don't know if I played it as cleanly as possible, but overall, it was a fun game. They just had better answers to what I was doing. And then game 3, I took a step back. I went and got something to drink. I turned my cat green, and I think, there's no way I lose this game. My opponent just took a mulligan. I've got perfect turn 2 and a turn 3. It's just, from here on out, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. My opponent plays nothing turn 1. I think, all right, you've lost. But I'm playing a little fast and loose. I'm just waiting for my turn to show up so I can just keep getting tons of value and play the ideal turn for my deck. Play the Fledgling, get it bigger, play the Jerboa, and now I'm thinking, if I don't even draw a land, all's well, because I can just roll in Regrowth. That's a ton of value. Hopefully I don't play another Rogue here. I think, all right, I'm definitely discarding the Celebrant to the Mind Drain. Definitely a good play here. Gets them back to being ahead on cards. But I'm also thinking, you don't understand the landfall power that I have and am ready to unleash upon the world. And I discard Rabid Bite because I'm not as worried about getting rid of their creatures. I'm more interested in just smashing in for the win. And I decide not to attack here because, again, Tazim Raptor being on the board with Jerboa, ton of damage. Bounce a land, next turn I can play my Forest, play my Roiling Regrowth, and potentially win if I know how to do math, but math is very hard at times. They play a second Skulker down, which is kind of annoying, but overall, with Fledgling constantly being able to fly, I'm not overly worried about it. I think let's just attack for 8. They don't stop it. Great. I don't mind that that rhymed. I don't mind that that just rhymed. Wow, that was a lot of rhyming. Anyway, they need to do something to my board, or Roiling Regrowth just wins it for us next turn. Hopefully it just ends up being a nice quick win. But then they play Nimana Sky Dancer. I'm thinking, okay, they got a blocker. Oh no, they've done this. Wait, they're down to 1 card in hand. I don't think that's going to do it for them. So let's just do what we got to do. Let's just guaranteed land drop, make our thing super big, and then make both of our potential flyers lethal threats. Plus next turn we get to draw a card, play Scale the Heights. If either of those cards are land, then Fearless Fledgling gets in for the win. If not, well then maybe it stalls out. But I just feel like we are way too far ahead right now for them to catch up unless they find multiple removal spells and then playing that land. Yeah, not so much. They attack all out, I'm assuming because they've given up. They throw the good game out. Nice, quick, easy win number 2 with the attack. We did it. Good job. And now moving on to the next game. I got to be honest, y'all, though. The Browns just lost to the Jets. We still have a chance to make the playoffs, but you don't understand. As a Cleveland fan, just the sadness that is if this season ends up not... If we don't make the playoffs this season, it's just going to be devastating. Now, this game was a very interesting one because our opponent comes out with pretty much as ideal of a turn 1-2 as you could have in the green-red deck. They play their Hellhound, and then they put the stinking Skyclave Pickaxe on it, which in my mind is like every land they play is going to essentially turn into 4 damage. That's a way to win a race. And then I think, okay, the only way I win this game is by slowing them down. And I think the best way to do that is having Blightblade just take out their 0-1. Now they have to invest in putting that on there and they equip it, great. But now that's really eating up a lot of their time, which gives me plenty of time to stabilize. And I think as long as we can hit a couple land drops, we can play our creatures out, we should be able to win the race, especially having Blightblade down. Now, yes, I need to get a counter on it, but Scale the Heights will be perfect for that. And I'm assuming, unless my opponent does something weird, that they're not going to use, or that they're going to worry about adding to their board versus having removal. But then they have removal, and unfortunately they take out Fledgling, which kind of is a bummer, but thankfully they don't hit the land drop, which means we're not taking nearly as much damage. And again, that just gives us another way to buy some time. I play the Scale the Heights there. I was telling myself, I'm going to draw land. I'm going to draw land, play the Scale the Heights. If I did not draw land there, I may lose this game. So that might have been a bit riskier than I needed to be. But the reason the Scale the Heights really helps too is Teru Blightblade, unless they play another warrior, can now block their warrior that makes things unblockable. And now I'm thinking, okay, they 100% have a combat trick here. But I don't know if there's anything that gives it first strike or that prevents Blightblade from destroying their Vanguard. So I just kind of wait and see what happens. They play that to get in for more damage, their Might of Marasa, and I'm thinking, okay, now, like, I win, right? Like, if I play this land down, we now have a really good blocker. I can attack. I don't need to be overly greedy. Fine, I'll just poke in for a little damage. But unless they draw something really good, I should be able to block and just stop whatever they're doing. My worst case scenario here, though, is if they play land, equip Pickaxe, have another combat trick. That definitely could be what happens, but then when they play the Pickaxe and they play that, I'm feeling good. Because now I get to play this. My thing's super big and difficult for them to block, especially like Akum Hellhound. I don't like the card because it's only good on offense. Now, granted, in their playing, they were able to be on offense, but now that stuff's stabilized, we've gotten to where we want to be in the game. I play 7-5 down. To me, that hopefully shuts the door on anything they can do. Because if they attack, we know they have a combat trick, so we're not going to let anything through that needs to get through. We should be fine. Now they play the Shatter Skull Charger, which is like a big deal. And thankfully we hit a land drop there, because that really helps. That Canyon Jerboa pump for our Colossus, huge right now, because they can't single block our Colossus and kill it. And I'm actually feeling really nervous here, like how do I win? Because with them having trample and bigger threats, like they could easily draw another combat trick and just trample over us. But while trying to figure out what I'm going to attack with, they just scooped. So, I mean, I'm not going to tell someone not to scoop. And me talking to myself was, oh, maybe that's just another reason to play slower, is that if my opponent's even remotely salty, they just rage quit like that person did. Now our next game, we're against a mythic player, and I don't have a great starting hand, but I can't mulligan this one away, and I figure, hey, we've got both colors, we've got some synergies going on, just get me some landfall stuff, and let me beat another mythic player. Because honestly, I think when you're playing limited, platinum and up is all pretty close. Like, you have to be generally an above average drafter, I think, to get into plat and diamond. I think if I was to classify my play, I would put it as above average. I don't think it's anything special or great. And drawing Fearless Fledgling here was a huge draw. The fact that they traded in their turn 3 for some damage, I wasn't overly worried about. And now, yeah, they're going to be able to ping our Dauntless Survivor down, but I'm not too worried about it. Like, I feel like right now we are in the driver's seat. Granted, they have a grip, but we have multiple ways to just do a good amount of damage and get in for a lot of damage. Roiling Regrowth is also really helpful here, and now we get to attack, and I'm just praying they block. I'm really, really hoping they block, because if they block, I think we win. I don't know if they can really catch up to what's going on. Thankfully, they do block with both, but then I also realized, wait a minute, I'm not super good at math. Unfortunately, it just ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. For some reason, I thought my Felidar would eat both of their creatures. That doesn't happen. So now, I'm like, okay, great. We're still in the driver's seat, though. If I just hit a landfall, Fledgling goes in, destroy him. Green-red, he's got a handful of options. Like, if he has broken wings and it ends up flying, that could be all bad for us. If he plays Death Touch or Rabbit Bite, that could be all bad for us. They play this, I think, all right, sweet, we win, just draw a land. And then I don't draw a land. And I'm very, very sad. Very sad. Now, here I'm thinking, okay, do I attack and trade 2? Because there's no way my creature doesn't get killed. And I think, you know what? I'm not going to. I probably should have attacked with Fledgling and made them double block. But I'm also thinking, if they don't have removal, they didn't have removal last turn, they're not going to have removal this turn. But then they draw that, they ping it for 1. I'm thinking, okay, they definitely have removal. And even though I knocked the table again. Even though they 2-for-1 themselves, they get rid of our biggest threat. And, well, now I'm sad. So now I trade both away. Great. And then I play Tazim Raptor. Again, looking back on this, I probably should have attacked, cleared their board, and then played out my 7-5. What probably ends up happening is they play their Charger and trade it away, or they have more removal and just like Seagate, they just remove Seagate Colossus. So I'm not entirely sure that what I did was the worst play, but it just, like, the rest of this game, it kind of irked me. Like, maybe I just wasn't as focused as I should have been. But here I'm thinking, okay, great, we still got, you know, just keep hitting them for 2 in the air. Never mind, they have another removal spell. Good for them. And we draw land with really no value to get from it. Kind of annoyed. And now at this point, they're getting ahead on cards, and they've got way more going on. But I'm still in the driver's seat. If I can find a Prowling Felidar, if I can find some other creature, they may really struggle to find a way to have removal for it. Like, they've used what I'm thinking is all their answers. Now here comes Canyon Jerboa. 1 turn ago would have been perfect, but this turn, not overly excited. If I had had another creature that would have gotten to 3 power, I probably would have attacked there. But if I don't, all that really happens is Teru Blightblade blocks and eats something, or, you know, they just trade away for both my creatures. Yeah, right here I'm just kind of frustrated. Again, I actually probably should have attacked last turn, played the Vastwood Surge, made both my creatures a problem, and then attacked. Because then any creature that gets through is lethal, and then they couldn't attack me at all right now, unless they have another creature in hand. But yeah, like, they've just been drawing all the answers they need when they need them, and they've got really good synergy with the kicker returning and whatnot, and I'm just not drawing what I need when I need it. Get this, get to play it kicked, make everything a threat, but at this point it doesn't matter. I've lost. I just don't know if I could have played this game differently. If I could have attacked at some point or not. It frustrates me, but we move on to the next one. Onward and upward. Anyway, moving on to this game. We're up against red-blue, and I'm just curious how this one goes. I was really happy to see them use removal on my Nectar Pot. Like, that's... I'm going to have way worse creatures that they need to deal with. Or, like, just take care of the Blightblade. Like, if you have a 0/17, you should protect it. And you protect it by getting rid of things with Death Touch. Because it has Death Touch. You know what I mean? Here I get to attack with both Felidars. I'm assuming they just have the Cherrick's land. They can only pump it up once, which does, you know, it just means we're going to bounce off each other and I get in for 4 damage, which is what I'm hoping happens here. If they want to use a combat trick as well and eat my Felidar, I'll be bummed, but I won't be overly bummed, especially if I end up finding my Rabid Bite or Inscription and then I can use that to get rid of their Cherrick's later on. I'll take it. Them using all their mana to bounce my Felidar makes me bummed out, but I top deck Rabid Bite and I feel very happy about that. Now they are in a really tough spot because they have nothing that can block effectively our Prowling Felidar. And the next turn, we find a land. Great, we play Felidar. If we don't, we play our Seagate Colossus. I don't want to play Inscription because I'm thinking they gotta have a combat trick, and if they interact with Inscription and don't let me cast it, I'm gonna be real sad. I decide to attack with Felidar here because I'm thinking, okay, if they want to, you know, trade 2 for 1, me having a 7/5 means everything's good. Then they play their -2/-0 combat trick, and I'm thinking, okay, they still just 2 for 1 themselves. I don't know why they did that. To me, I don't know if that was the better play, but here we are. I don't know what else is in their hand, though, so maybe it was just like their only option. Sure, go for it. And now I'm thinking, okay, it's just race situation. They've used all they can. They've used all they have. Life's good. They find Into the Royal, which could do some work for us, but I'm thinking, wait, Inscription of Abundance is also an instant. So I attack. I know they're going to bounce my thing. In response, I can use this to still eat their big thing. Their board's essentially wiped, and I can just play out Felidar next turn, and then all's well. Plus make Dauntless Survivor even bigger, and now it's going to be a pain to block because, yeah, it's got 2 1/1 counters on it. Feel really good about this game. I think overall my deck has performed fairly well, and we've found the right cards when we needed them. Expedition Champion, pretty solid card overall. But yeah, I just start attacking, and I think, hey, let's go for it. Let's just win the game. Trading cards right now is great for us because we have more cards in hand, and they're pretty good ones. And fortunately, they just draw land, so it really makes this last part of this game non-eventful. Get the landfall trigger, attack for some damage, play another creature, lethal on board, and then some. I don't know if they find something great. They kick that to remove our creature. Fine. All's well. Overall, this is how the deck should play, where we just find value and our opponent has to 2 for 1 themselves or something. That gets us ahead on cards. Our board keeps getting bigger. Great. We win the game. Now, I guess back to my soapbox real quick. How do you all view Platinum, Diamond, and Mythic? Like, is Platinum just above average? Diamond is good player, Mythic's great player? Is one just like... I know you have to grind for either, but I'm just really curious how y'all view the rankings versus how you are as a player, your skill level, that kind of thing. So if you want to expand on that, great. Love to talk with you in the comments about it. Next game, we are up against White-Red Warriors, which with how our start is, I mean, we've gotten good draws, right amount of land, good curve. Like, this is our time to shine. I was really, really hoping they would block here. Like, really hoping. But I think, hey, let's try and outrace the Warrior deck. Right, Cannon Jerboa doing work, and we're not really going to block. I mean, we could, but I committed to attacking, thinking, let me give my opponent a chance to make a mistake, and here we are. They didn't make that mistake. Now, this is the time where I'm thinking, okay, again, we can attack. I can play Kicker, Inscription. Like, I just have a lot of options here, and I think, okay, let me add to the board, let me play my thing, and let me attack. And if they don't block, we could potentially blow them out all as well. I'm doing some math. I'm thinking if they end up blocking Gnarly Colony with Sellsword, I'm going to be kind of bummed. Because then I just have to use my combat trick to save it. And that's like my least effective option here. I think, I'm just wondering if me not attacking with Jerboa makes them think I don't have a combat trick. And if I'd attacked with it, they'd be less quick to snap off that block. I'm also thinking, though, with Inscription, if they don't block at all, just do some damage, life's good. But they do block, anyway, use the combat trick, and now I'm just thinking, okay, as long as they don't remove one of my creatures, we can win here. Because Inscription, puts counters on things. Gnarly Colony gives that thing trample. When they tap out to play their creatures, I think, okay, great, game over. Because now we attack with everything. Don't play it too early. Attack with everything. Then however they assign blockers, I have Prowling Felidar eat something. I put the counters on Gnarly Colony, and then that's 10 trample damage. They can't stop it. GG. And that's essentially what happens. Thankfully, they did not have a way to remove anything. They just added to the board thinking they could outrace us, and not on my watch, Chief. Win the game. That was a tight one, though. Like, they had some ideal draws. I needed some ideal draws, and we just came out ahead. Close win. And now for the next game. We get to go first. Again, just like an awful, awful starting hand. But I just can't stomach a mulligan on the play. And I'm thinking, hey, we've got like 4 Prowling Felidars. If I draw one of them, life's good. And then I realize we're up against the Cleric deck. And I think, white-black, like they're going to have removal. So what's my best chance at victory? It's attacking for the win in the air and hoping that they don't have non-stop Clerics coming down. Because if they do, well, what's going to happen is they're going to keep attacking and gaining life, and I'm just not going to be able to win that race. So here I'm thinking, you know what? Let's just all the eggs in the same basket and attack with our Tazim Raptor and try and win the race. Like, they're going to gain 1 life at a time. If they attack, great. But overall, like, if they have removal, they win this game regardless. If they don't have removal, though, my best bet is try and win that race. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, they then play Core Celebrant. Like, they've had essentially a perfect start. I don't know. At this point, I'm like, I'm so far behind. Unless I draw a Rabid Bite ASAP, I'm going to lose. So I'm a little discouraged because this is not a great matchup for us, and my draw was not splendid. So Core Celebrant, though, is a pretty solid draw here just because it helps gain me some life as well and keep up with whatever they're doing. Now, if they miss a Cleric here, maybe they don't attack because they don't have the ability to keep their Core Celebrant or their Clerics of Life bond around. But I'm just, white-black, there's no way they don't have a combat trick or two, right? I'm hopeful that the Tazim Raptor is out of the way of something like whatever the card is that destroy creature 3 or less, power 3 or less. But yeah, they have no shortage of Clerics. It seems they have no shortage of what they need to do. We get our 7/5 down, which I'm thinking buys me a little time on the ground, because now if they attack, I can trade away with it. They can't Vanquish the Weak. That's the card I'm thinking of. They need to spend some time building their board up, which should give me time to get in for damage. They're also missing this 5th land. I'm trying to figure out, why do they need a 5th land so bad? Like, they've got a grip and they haven't done much with it. They played a kicked Kitesail Cleric, bummer, and then they play the dreaded Journey into Oblivion. And I thought for sure they were actually going to get rid of the Tazim Raptor, but they don't, and I'm thinking, okay, I have to start chump blocking because taking 6 right there is no bueno. Prowling Felidar, I don't play the land because if they have Vanquished the Weak, like, it doesn't do anything for me. So I might as well just wait and see if they tap out or see if I have an opening to where I can play Prowling Felidar. The fact they play a 1-drop here makes me think there's 100% they have Vanquished the Weak in hand. And if that's the case, I am not feeling all that good. I could throw everything in front of Clerical Life Bond at 1.2, but I need to make sure that a removal spell doesn't, blow me out. And I'm thinking, all right, I again just have to chump block. But then I opt not to, which is not what you were expecting me to say. But I choose not to because I can attack. And now that I have another Prowling Felidar down, the idea is if I keep drawing creatures, Core Celebrant keeps me in it, and we're on the same turn clock. I can just chump block next turn. No need to chump block there. Let me build my board out and then be able to trade away for Clerics of Life Bond if they make a mistake or they're banking on something like Seagate Banneret. My Vastwood Fortification can maybe be the way that I get their big thing off the board. So I'm hoping that they overstep and see, here comes the Vanquish the Weak. And then I'm realizing, no, I'm still kind of hurting. Because if they play a 5th land, which they're going to do at some point, versus drawing ideal spells, I would prefer them flood out, but that's not going to happen. Anyway, right now I'm thinking there's no way I can get Cleric of Life Spawn off the table right now. I have not found the right interaction for it. That card is going to lose me the game. When I see them play this Mesa Lynx, though, I'm like, okay, wait, maybe their hand just is kind of junk, and that's why they're doing this. I don't want to take 8 here. It's lethal. I wish they would have just kept the flyer back and given me a shot, but, there goes nothing. And then at this point, I'm also wondering, should I have just kept my Tazim Raptor back and just traded away for it at some point? You know, maybe tried to win some really, really long grindy game. But I think early on when I saw Clerics, I thought, ooh, they can grind with the best of them. You know, they're going to gain a ton of life. They're going to find a card like Scion of the Swarm. And then there's no chance for me. And, you know, at this point, they've just drawn really well. They've played really well. And I'm behind. All right. And then I just jump ahead because my opponent was, like, I don't know why they're playing so slow. But anyway, I draw Might of Murasa and I'm thinking, wait, can I win this game? Maybe they don't block. And I attack with the Zem Raptor thinking if they don't block, I could win. But then, of course, they do block because why would they not? They win the game. Doesn't really matter. And, I mean, at this point, I lose because they just swing all out. And, again, I lose. Keep my Zem Raptor around because it did work. It deserves to live to see the end of the game. I don't just want to trade it away for one thing. And then I'm just waiting for them to swing all out. And, unfortunately, you know, that's all she wrote. But overall, if we review, I'm just going to let this game play out. As I fast forward, okay, we'll just jump. Yeah, defeat. But all in all, we won 5 games, forcing an archetype, playing a new archetype that I haven't really played yet, ending net gem positive. Overall, I'll take it. Like, I think this draft, it showed me that, yeah, the archetype is a lot of fun. And let me know what y'all think, though. Did you all enjoy this kind of format where I speed it up now that we're all probably familiar with Zendikar Rising and what's happening? Did y'all enjoy this sped up version with me just talking over it, or do you like the more drawn out games where you can just see the ins and outs of what's happening? But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and are looking forward to the new year, right? Because it can't be any worse than 2020. Hope you all had some happy holidays. We'll see you in the next video, my friends. Take it easy. Peace.